Good morning, everyone. Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another presentation of the Solid Sports video blog. This is episode 292. Of course, we're a week behind. Supposed to be 292 last week. I had to cancel last week. I get into that sometime during the video. Thank you guys so much for being here live with me. Actually on time this morning, 9:30, as I usually try to set a goal for 9:30. So I'm glad I'm able to get on this morning on time instead of being a little late. I appreciate it so much. Um, big show today. There's a lot going on in sports. NBA playoffs with the conference finals starting. We'll look at the MLB. And we got some NFL news as well to cover today. Some stuff I wanted to touch on. Last week we had previewed my NFL Roundabout series, which I've been doing the last couple of years. So I'm excited about that. Usually I try to start it in June, lead it through all the way through to at least the NFL preseason. Break down every division. So we're going to preview that today. Of course, the passing of Colts owner Jim Irsay. I'll touch on that. I touch on some stuff I wanted to touch on last week. The Pete Rose being reinstated. And definitely we'll look at the conference finals in the NBA this morning. Thank you guys, by the way. We up to, as we speak, 338 subscribers. So we jumped another almost 10 in the last couple of days. So thank you so much. Got some, well, not necessarily new projects, but projects I wanted to start. I started Call of Duty Black Ops 6 campaign mode. I just started that yesterday. Back on it, Dragon Ball Sparkler Zero. So look out for videos for that. Probably focus on Goku actually, because I played it a little bit, but I just didn't record, so I had to go back and backtrack with that. So that's another project to look forward to. So you'll see Call of Duty multiplayer videos just pop up randomly. Got some new projects planned in June, but gotta see how some days go first before I can promise that. But if so, in June we'll be seeing some new stuff. So got a big couple of weeks coming up. So I thank you guys for hanging in there with me. Like I said, I'm so glad I'm here. At 9:30 this morning, I can get done. I want to get done before 11. So that's my goal today. So thank you guys again. Like I said, we got a lot to cover today, so we're gonna get into it. Starting in Major League Baseball. Let me pull up my MLB standings because my device was acting up. Well, as far as what my what I use to look at the standings with. So hopefully it stay act right. Yeah, here we go. So I appreciate you guys. Like I said, it's been a rough few weeks. Like I said, might have mentioned my because I played forever. Because last week I canceled the show. I just couldn't get up, man. I just couldn't. That day I planned it, and it was the last day of the week that I could do it. I could have pushed it if I'd have probably scheduled it Wednesday. I could have pushed it back the day, but really only Tuesday through Thursdays is the days I can record. So I mean I could record, be live, whatever. Even though I've been doing it live lately, basically the last few episodes. I remember when I did a record. I did a recordings probably since earlier this year. Um, Excuse me, got a little bit of sniffles, man. This weather is crazy. If you live on the East Coast, particularly the Northwest, um, temperatures has went back down again. After look like it's summer was about to be. Well, I don't want to say summer, but the weather would break. But I have some weird weather, so I think just be sleeping, and then we got air that blows in our where I live. Air just constantly blow, so got to deal with that. But I'll be all right. So sorry if I got the sniffles this morning. Uh, but yeah, I just couldn't get up last week. Like I said, I think I mentioned grandmother passed away. So that's did something to lingering. Um, I've been dealing with things with my job also. So those 2 days combined just had me out of it. So I apologize for that. I had those days sometimes. That's why I started my other channel. I got well, they ain't active, but I got two other channels that I have. I have a channels where I just try to do shorts. I gotta start trying to put some more content back over there again. But there's a lot of content over there, like basically retro shorts, retro game shorts. Um, so it's shorts over there. But I want to try to do shorts like maybe do my like I probably should have did my Eastern and Western Conference preview shorts over there also. So I'll probably start doing that over there. And then I got a channel, the Open Book with me, Troy West. Something I started years ago. I haven't been active on it in a long time. But it was a channel I had specifically for talking about basically my journal of depression and things of that nature. Something that I've dealt with throughout the years, but it's definitely been a lot better for me managing that the last few years. So, um, but like I still think it's useful. So I didn't close the channel completely down, so you can still go watch the videos even though they're years old. I think I haven't posted over there in like 6 years. It's been a long time since I posted anything on that channel. So just you can find is it in my bio? No, not necessarily, but if anybody want information, just reach out to me, and I'll give you that information as well. But the Silent Sports and Gaming Shorts, that's definitely, I mean, it's in my bio, but there's no link for it. Um, but I'm sure if you look it up, it'll come up. But okay, so that's just been going on with me. I've probably touched on it a little bit more at the end of the show. But let's go ahead and get into the MLB standings. And then I'm going to touch on how I feel about Pete Rose being reinstated. Like I said, if you go watch my Forever Skies live, the last one I was live, I think it's video 13. Excuse me again. I talked a little sports on that live. That's another project I gotta focus on. Did loop also. So I got projects that I'm trying to focus on without video game playthroughs. But American League East, I always start with the American League East and work my way down. Yankees still in first place at 29-19, so 10 over. The Red Sox at right at 500 at 24-24. No, so sorry, that's the Toronto Blue Jays. The Red Sox is a game under at 25-26. And then you got Tampa 3 under at 23-26. And then the Baltimore Orioles, and I'm from Baltimore, I'm an Orioles fan. Also a Braves fan. But Orioles, of course, in turmoil. They fired the manager, Brandon Hyde. I think it's been about a week now. They got rid of him. I didn't agree with it. I thought it was. I think they panicking, which I can understand because things, especially the way the American League started to shape up, it's not looking good for the Orioles. I was telling people that's close to me, that's diehard Oriole fans. They already pretty much threw in the towel. Like May is over, but you say by June, like the mid June, they still in this position. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to come back. Even for the division, I say they still got an outside shot. They're just too talented, so you think they would put together some wins. But it's been the pitching. The pitching has been mediocre, and also been had injuries. So I think that's more the problem. I don't think it was Hyde. I think Hyde did a great job, especially the last 2 years. It's just I want to put it on new ownership, but I think that's part of it. But I think if this move to me proves that uh, he's not going to tolerate mediocre play from nobody. So I think even the players better have their eyebrows open, unless the players is behind this, because it don't smell right. I'm thinking it's something more, something happened behind the scenes, and maybe some players wanted this. I don't. I mean, I'm just throwing out uh, scenarios that make sense, because to do it this early in the season, I don't understand. And some ownership, they think, like, when I read the article, basically they want, hopefully this will wake the Orioles up and they start winning. I don't think. I mean, it might work for a week, but ultimately your weakness is going to show. The Orioles' weaknesses is definitely pitching, and the offense haven't been consistent either. If you look at the lineup, nobody's been real consistent at the plate. They won yesterday over the Milwaukee Brewers in extra innings, so that was a good win. Um, I'll probably look at who they play this weekend, but just for being for Baltimore and being reading certain things, reading the tea leaves, I think this move, it smells like that. This stuff that happened behind the scenes, and he wound up leaving his job. But I don't agree with it. I wonder where they go from here. Of course, they got an intern manager right now, um, so that was a story. I think it was last week. I don't think it happened. I think it happened last week, early last week. So, but I did talk about it because I did get on this week. But they definitely in trouble. It's gonna be hard for them to crawl this hole. I think they got the second worst record in the American League. And yes, they do. Behind Chicago White Sox. So imagine you being the second worst team. You got at minimum like 5, 6, 7 teams you got to jump just to get into the wild card. So it's gonna be tough. I still think they got a shot because of the talent, but I'm not sure. It might be. It might. I don't want to declare it over, but it's not looking good. I'll put it that way. Okay, AL Central, Detroit Tigers, 33-17. I think they have the best record in the American League. They do. They've been quietly just having a great season, building on what happened last season, being a postseason team. Towards the Tigers was a perennial contender back in the 2000, uh, in the 2000s, and at the tail end of the 2010s. Well, the beginning of the 2010s with the Verlander and Miguel Cabrera. Um, but now they got a young team in his back, so we'll see how the rest of their season go. Minnesota Twins. This is what I'm talking about the Twins, because they've been disappointing to me the last couple of years. They in second place. And you got the Royals. Both of them are 5.5 back, and the Cleveland Indians 6 back. And then I mentioned the White Sox. They only because of talent, I pretty much declared them done. But um, this division is going to be competitive probably the whole year. We'll see if anybody falters, but right now Detroit is in command. AL West, Seattle Mariners right now 3.5 game lead. They in first place in the West. Then you got Houston, the Texas Rangers. All those teams over 500. Rangers are 4 back. LA Angels sort of coming back alive a little bit, but they still 200 at 5 back. And then the A's, which they hanging in there though, 7 back at 22 and 28. Of course, you know about their story, about the move to Vegas, but gotta bounce around before you get to Vegas to wait for that stadium to be built. So Las Vegas starting to become a sports hub now. They got baseball. I think eventually the NBA going to get there. I don't know when. I think the NBA is going to eventually get there, but they got everything else. They got hockey. They got WNBA, and now they're going to get baseball. But I think the NBA is going to have a team there. Either somebody's going to move there, or I think they might just make the league uneven and have a special team. It's going to happen. I think within the next 5 to 10 years, I think we'll see an NBA team there also. Um, National League, at AL East, Philadelphia Phillies. I know I got when I did my preview uh, of this show on social media. I put up the Mets a lot, but the Phillies are the ones in first place. Mets just been they talked about the they in New York. Of course, they had the Subway Series last weekend, and Juan Soto. Um, Speaking of like I said, New York, the Yankees, just to give some love to Aaron Judge, what a year he's having. But the Phillies are in first place. Mets is second. My Braves right back at 500. I knew they were. I knew I didn't never faulted hope about my Braves. They was in the same issue the Orioles was in. Barely, got off to a slow start, but now they're getting healthy. Bats coming alive. The pitching has been steady, so maybe we can run. I don't know if we get to first place, but we'll be a perennial wild card team, and it's caused some issues. Washington Nationals hanging in there and fourth, and then the Miami Marlins, 11 and a half games out. Marlins again, a up and down franchise, and I guess they on the downward side right now. AL Central, Chicago Cubs, a 3-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals, which, like I said, I think it's an interesting team. Cincinnati, a game under. They 5.5 back. And they got Milwaukee, which I don't count out yet. 2 under, but 6 back. And then Pittsburgh is 13 back in this Central. Shout out to my boy James. Basically all Pittsburgh fans, Pirates, Steelers. Basketball, he's a Bucks fan. So he's not doing good too. I mean, as far as sports wise, this team's not doing. Pittsburgh, of course, in last place here in the baseball. The Steelers, which I'm gonna touch on in our football news. Aaron Rodgers saga continues, but it looks like she's gonna sign there. But we'll talk about that later. Um, and the Bucks, of course, went out in the first round. Giannis talked about now he might want to leave, and Dame, of course, went down again in that series. But look at the Pacers. I thought the Pacers was going to beat them anyway. So, personally, I just thought the Pacers would beat them anyway. Uh, well, honestly, you know what? I gotta put my foot in my mouth. I think I did pick Milwaukee. Like officially, I picked Milwaukee. Cause I said I would go with them one more time. I didn't feel confident about it, but I did pick Milwaukee. So my bad. I gotta take my statement back. I can say when I'm wrong. I did pick Milwaukee to win that series, but once Dame went down, I knew it was over then. But I think Indiana. I mean now, look how what Indiana doing. I just believe in Giannis. That's the only reason why I picked Milwaukee. Um, but that's a whole. Like I said, we get into the NBA series. AL NL West, excuse me. LA Dodgers, of course, being the Dodgers. They 2 ahead of the San Francisco Giants, who's hanging in there. 2 games back. San Diego Padres cooled off a little bit, but they 2.5 back, and then Arizona, 26 and 24 Diamondbacks, and then the Colorado Rockies. I was just gonna say shout out to my man, Good Vibes. Hopefully you're doing well, bro. I haven't heard from you in a long time. But the Rockies, man, it's just what can you say? Hopefully one day in 1 year they can turn it around. So that is our MLB standings update for the week. Let me see. We're about to go NBA, but first, like I said, I'm gonna touch on the Pete Rose Day. But excuse me for one moment. I need to clear my nose because I'm just congested now. So give me 2 seconds and I'll be right back, guys. Thank you. Sorry about that, man. This weather, man. I'm blaming the weather anyway. That's what I'm gonna blame. I just hope I ain't about to get sick, cause I definitely can't afford to get sick right now. So bear with me. Thank you so much. Um, but yeah, I wanted to touch on the Pete Rose reinstatement. I'm gonna not gonna try to take long with that. Like I said, I touched on it a little bit last week when it happened on my Fabulous Skies live. My main thing is with that it's too late. Y'all should have been reinstated Pete years ago. Um, Now I'm too young to really, I've never really seen him play. I just seen highlights and stories and things of that nature. But he was one of the best players clearly in MLB history. Call him Charlie Hustle because he would stretch singles into doubles and doubles into triples and things of that nature. I think he's still the all-time leader in hits, over 4,000 hits. Of course, what he did was wrong. Betting on baseball. Um, was that was he should have been punished, maybe banned for a certain amount of years, but not a lifetime ban. Um, but I knew this was going to happen. I predicted this. I thought it would, because he just passed away, I think last year. I thought it would take a little longer for them to do this. Um, and of course, some people's theory is President Trump sort of pushed this because he been riding um, um, Manfred, the commissioner, for years. That Pete should be in. Pete should be in. It's just a shame that he's not alive to see it. That's my issue with it. That's why I got a sort of a problem with it in that regard. But it should have happened. It should have been happened. But I guess better late than never. I guess you could look at it that way also. It's just a shame that people. This is just a thing. This is not. It's just a people thing, especially here in America. I can just speak for here in America. Like when you die, that's when everybody. Um, well, I guess I put it like this: when you die, you feel. Some people. I guess you sort of still get the truth. Like you get the truth in a way, but at the same time, it's like you got, especially if you. I don't want to use the word famous or celebrity, but if you have value, the people definitely going to jump on you. And if you don't, then they going to spit on you when you die. It just goes like that. So in Pete Rose's case, you know, baseball is going to benefit from this. So that's part of the reason why they're doing this also. So I just think baseball has made a lot of bad mistakes since I've been living. Of course, the steroid era was a mistake, even though at the time it made sense because baseball was faltering. But look at baseball now. It's not. Baseball is the type of sport. Most of the fans, like me, like I grew up watching baseball, so I'm always going to be a baseball fan. I always going to follow it to some capacity. Now I don't follow it like I used to no more. I barely see any games now, but I still follow it. Especially playoff time. I definitely get into it during the playoffs. But basically, if you're not a pure fan, that's just is what it is. So I think um, I think they trying to pass it down. You're always going to have fans of the game, but it's definitely not the same feel. When I was growing up, you just ran into a lot more baseball fans now. Especially, I don't want to make it a black thing, but my people will like it. I mean, they, unless they win, unless, like I said, the Orioles been winning, so now you see some people probably talk about it a little bit. Well, this year it's unfortunate they losing this year, but other than them winning, you don't hear anything about the Orioles. It's more about the Ravens here. Um, so it's just baseball. Just they got it right. They just got it right too late. They should have been reinstated, Mr. Rose. And just to throw in there, Shoeless Joe Jackson. He's been reinstated as well. But that's why I feel like this is a money grab because he's been dead since I think the 50s, because he's back in the early night, like 100 years ago, and the scandal with him was, I think his had something to do with gambling too or something, right? I'm not sure. I know he had a big scandal and he was banned for life also. So they reinstate both of these guys, which means they're eligible for the Hall of Fame. So, like I said, that's going to benefit baseball um, tremendously. So, it just looks about right on that end. But I guess never make the never. So he should get in. I think they should. But I think I heard somebody say, probably one of the sports shows I watch, they should just go ahead and throw him in now. If it comes to a vote. Um, but I don't even think it should do that. I think the commissioner, since you reinstate, I think you should just put him in. Just uh, somehow just put him in now. Don't wait. You know what I'm saying? Just put him in. I believe that. I don't think they should wait for a vote and all this other stuff. The man, by just being a player alone, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So, yeah. So that's my feelings on that. I wanted to really get into it last week, but like I said, I didn't come on last week. So that's with that. So, all right, time to move on to the NBA. NBA playoffs in full swing. We in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Before I get started with that, I was wrong. I had the Lakers come out the West. They lost in the first round. Had Boston come out the East. They lost to the New York Knicks in the second round. The Tatum injury, yeah, that was a big factor. But the Knicks, even in that game, he got hurt. They probably would have won that game. So it still would have been a tough series for Boston to come back, even if Tatum would have stayed healthy. Boston just stopped their threes, just wasn't falling. And they got eliminated. So we got in the West, we got the OKC Thunder hosted the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're going to touch on game one in a second, but I just want to talk about the T-Wolves for a second. Like, they been impressive this whole playoffs as well. They eliminated the Lakers in the first round without home court. Then they went against who they get next? The Golden State Warriors. Warriors sort of broke down, but I still felt Minnesota probably would have won that series, even if Steph would have got hurt. I think it'd have been tougher, but I think they still would have wound up in that series the way they looked. Jimmy Butler sort of broke down as well. But you remember he got hurt in that Houston series and really ain't looked the same since. So I don't know if it was that. And then after Steph and Jimmy, where your score was going to consistently come from. Like Draymond every once in a while can hit a shot. The bench guys, Kuminga, I think Steve Kerr made a mistake. I don't know what happened with Kuminga. Like I said, it was something internal for sure. But he basically didn't play the last 2 weeks of the season. He didn't play in the first round much against Houston either. But when they threw him out there when they needed him, it was too late. So that hurt the Warriors as well. So then Steph got hurt, and that was pretty much a ball game there for them. But still impressive for the Warriors to get this far. OKC, of course, had a grueling 7-game series with the Nuggets. But the first round with Memphis, I think they beat them in 5. I think Memphis got a game, or did they sweep them? I think they swept Memphis. I always forget. But I'm about to look at it now. Yeah, they swept Memphis. The last game was close, though. So that's probably why I'm thinking that they got a game. But yeah, they swept the Grizz. But game one of this series, though, between Minnesota and OKC. OKC, pretty much, I watched basically the second half, which was the half not to watch. Missed some of the first half, because the first half was close. But Ant-Man only took 13 shots. He got fined because I think he said at one of the post-game presses, throw some F-bombs and stuff. But yeah, you gotta take at least 20 shots, easy. I think this is a series you have to pretty much not carry him, but he gotta consistently score like 30 to 40 points for them to win. Because Julius Randle, though, shout out to Julius Randle, has been awesome this whole postseason. He's earned his keep as a T Wolf to me. Um, and you know, the ironic thing, the Knicks on the other side, the trade they made for Cat. But Julius Randle has been unbelievable. He played well in that game, 4-6 from three. He's pretty much was a consistent scorer. But the Thunder is good defensively. They long, athletic. So it's going to be a much tougher series for Minnesota to score. Then they pretty much Rudy got in foul trouble early. That threw him off his game. He's going to have to be. I don't need him to just score. He's just going to have to be a terror in the middle for Minnesota. So those things, like Batman probably have to average 30, and Rudy gonna have to play a lot better also, and then still get what you get from Julius as well. And then somebody from the bench have to step up, either DiVincenzo or Nas Reed, who they got took it out the game in game one. So game two is tonight, so we'll see if the Minnesota bounce back. I know Atman will definitely take more shots. They had a weird stat I saw, probably on Get Up or something, that his average distance shot for Ant-Man was like 28 feet, which is crazy. Because, you know, 3-point line is 23 feet. So you shooting 5 feet beyond that. The average shot, that's crazy. So couldn't get in the paint. SGA, of course, congratulations. He won, officially was named MVP yesterday. Was very emotional about it. He deserved it. He had a great last 2 seasons, and I think he's going to stay at this level. The Thunder, you know, got to be favored to win it all now. Even though I'm starting up at Indiana, we're talking about the Pacers, the thrilling overtime win last night over the Knicks. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, the Thunder's looking good. I want to see how Minnesota bounce back from game two. Not that in the world if they lose tonight, but I just think it's going to be tough. That means you'll have to win 4 out of the next 6. I mean, it'd be hard for me to see that happen. I mean, Minnesota goes home. OKC have their times when they sort of get lost and don't play well. Same with Boston, even though Boston this time it hurt them and they lost the series. But the Thunder have times where they can't score, or you know, or they defense break down. So maybe one of those games will come up. They probably hoping it's Minnesota probably hoping it's tonight. But we'll see what adjustments they make. But if you just look at this one game, it's hard to see Minnesota winning this series. I picked the Thunder in 6. I feel good about that, especially after game 1. So we'll see what happens tonight in game 2. Go to the east side now. Game 1 of that. What a game last night. I watched I watched basically the last half of the fourth quarter and all the overtime. Once I heard what was going, because the Knicks was up pretty much this whole game. They was up 14 with like 2 something minutes left. And Indiana made a historic comeback, win the overtime. Should have almost walked it off again with Tyrese Halliburton. What a playoffs he's had. Gotta give him credit. Hit another buzzer beater, but his foot was on the line, so it went to overtime. He did the Reggie Miller choke job, which was iconic. It's still gonna be memorable because they won the game. But yeah, what if they'd have lost in overtime? That would have been bad. They'd have been riding him this morning, but I know he was celebrated. I'll start, like I said, the Pacers, man. They're not afraid of anybody. They dictate their pace. When they do that, they just hard to beat. Even though New York, pretty much you could say dominated most of the game, but they wore down at the end, and I think that's this going to be their demise. Because they only play 7 deep. They bench 8 deep. They don't really go deep into the bench. I think they're going to have to try to. I think that's the only way they got a chance to win this series. Try to give somebody else some playing time. Because I just think Indiana, they used to playing this way. So I think at the end of the games, they're going to be wore down. And I think that's what happened with this game because the Knicks just missed a lot of open shots down the stretch also. Um, so, but great win for the Pacers. I picked the Knicks to win this series. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there now. I picked. If you go look at my short, I did pick the Knicks to win this series. I said 6. I don't like to say 7, and I always explain that because 7 to me, you're not sure. You're not sure who's gonna win. You pretty much riding the fence. So I think 6 is you sure. You're more sure about it. Not saying that I never pick something in 7. This series could go 7. The Minnesota OKC series could go 7. But I always say 6 just to give myself a little bit more conviction of my pick. And if I do say 7, I'd be like, I'm not sure we could pick because, if the series goes 7, anybody could have won the series clearly. So, yeah. So I'm gonna stick with the Knicks. I'm not gonna switch my pick yet. But it don't look good, and I'm starting to think the Pacers going to do this thing, because the way they playing, I don't see adjustment by the Knicks other than playing more guys, and then now these guys just like what I mentioned, Kuminga with the Warriors, these guys haven't been playing, so now you expect them, you're gonna throw them out there in crucial situations to give you minutes. Jalen Brunson played very, very well. Cat played well, but I think they just ran out of gas at the end. They couldn't carry him. OG gonna have to be bigger in this series. Also, we'll see what the Knicks do. Will they play more guys, or will they just say, all right, we still should have won this game, which they should have. Excuse me, what they should have. They had a chance to win this game, so maybe they won't change much. But I think now being down 1-0, if they start to look how they looked in game 1, you got to do something. I don't think they can stick with whatever game plan they had, because the Pacers just going to run you down and wear you down. And I think that's what happened last night. But big win for the Pacers. They up 1-0. Game 2 is tomorrow night, so we'll see what adjustments the Knicks make, because now it's definitely on the Knicks now to make some type of adjustment, because the Pacers pretty much dictated their pace the whole game. They pretty much lulled them to sleep, and the Knicks fell for it. So it's going to be hard to see, or it will be interesting to see what adjustments the Knicks make. So, all right, so that's the update from the NBA playoffs. Let's see if there's any other really NBA news worthy other than the Shy winning the MVP, which I touched on. And he deserved it. Yeah, I think it should have been him or maybe Joker again. I think everybody else really don't have too much of an argument between those two guys. I thought it would definitely be one of those two. Who was the other finalist though? I'm trying to think for MVP. Was it Tatum? Probably was Jason Tatum. He probably, I guess he probably deserved to be there. Cleveland, like I said, Donovan Mitchell had a great year, but still be hard for him to jump any of those three guys. But SGA, he deserved it. And this is going to be interesting to see the rest of his career, like how, because he's still young. He's still 26 years old, so he's still relatively young. I think he's the face of that OKC Thunder team. He's actually one of the oldest guys there. That's how young this team is. He got a couple years over the other young guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how his career turns out. But I think, like I said, I think this is the beginning of just the beginning for him. Like I said, the Thunder is favored to win this season. So if let's just say they pull it out and win a championship, that's going to elevate him even more. But see, the thing about it is, winning a championship sometimes can tell you about a player also, because some players they win one and they satisfied, but he don't seem like the type to me. I think he would definitely um, continue to improve and improve his craft and keep the Thunder as a contender. And then the thing about this is, if you look at it on America's standpoint, he's not American either. He looks American. He look like he's one of, I don't want to say one of us that way, but he's Canadian. So another foreign player wins MVP. I don't think an American player won MVP with just who, just LeBron or um, because it's been what Embiid, it's been Joker 3 or 4 times, or 3 times. Yeah, 3 time MVP or two, and then Giannis. So yeah, I don't. I got well, since LeBron, is that our last American MVP? Oh, Russ. Yeah, because Russ, with the triple double year. So I think it might have been Russ probably been the last American MVP. Um, so yeah, so it don't a lot of foreign players mixed in. Um, that's why everybody rooting for Ant-Man, because he's American. That's why, like I said, the Olympics in a couple years. I don't think America's gonna win it. I think they still be a good team. Probably be a bronze, maybe silver, but gold. I think it'll be somebody else. Because I mean, unless some young player emerges, well, Cooper Flag, we'll see how good he is. He'd be on the American team for sure. Um, Ant-Man is now probably the leader of the American League, of the American team now, because Durant is older, Steph is older, LeBron, he already said he's not doing it again. Um, well, he might be retired by then, maybe, but still, all those guys are older. Um, it might be all of them might be retired by the time it's time for the Olympics to come back around again. So yeah, other than that, not too much news going around the league. I didn't touch on the draft lottery last week. That was one thing I wanted to cover. Speaking of Cooper Flag, Dallas Mavericks won the lottery. So they already said they picking Flag. They're not going to play around. So Flag should be a Dallas Maverick. Um, I think they had the biggest odds in like 20 years or something like that. Some crazy thing. So, um, uh, it's just a lot of people conspiracy theories, because Dallas just traded away Luka, and then now they get the #1 pick in the draft. And they was actually in the play-in, so they was close to making the playoffs. They was actually a game away from making the playoffs, and they lost the game they needed to win to get in, to be that eighth seed. Memphis actually beat them, so they close to wouldn't have been in the lottery at all. They just would have had automatic, what, 15th pick, 14th, and around that, So, but they won the lottery. So, feel bad for Charlotte and Washington more than Philadelphia. Well, Philadelphia was lucky actually. They got to keep their pick because it was top 5. What was the other team? It was Washington. Oh, Utah Jazz. They had the biggest percentage to win the lottery, but none of them finishing even in the top 3. So, even though, like I said, I like what Utah's doing a little bit. Even though they just don't have the talent, but they got some young guys there, and trying to build something there. Charlotte, just though, yeah, the injuries has been tough for them. Like LaMelo been in and out. But they said their organizations ain't been ran right in the last few years. You can't blame it on Mike. Mike been gone a year and a half, 2 years. So And Washington, same thing. They not running the organization right. So, but I still feel sorry for them. I think one of them should at least got the first pick. But Dallas gets it. So, uh, and they already said they take a flag. But there's a lot of good players in this draft. It's not a deep draft per se, but it's not a bad draft. So you'll get somebody decent at least. So all right, so move on to the NFL. So we've almost done the show. Um, should I touch on Jim Irsay first? Cause let me see. Of course, I want to also preview the NFL Roundabout series. We're gonna try to start it next week. Um, and let me see if it's any other stuff because I'd rather do Jim Irsay last. Um, but as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and just do Jim. Mr. Irsay, Colts owner, of course, passed away yesterday. At 65, which sound like I didn't think he was. I thought he was older. I guess because he'd been around so long. I thought he was older than that. I thought he probably was in his 70s. Um, but no, he was only 65. Of course, the Irsay family been in the NFL for a long time. Of course, she's owned the Colts for a long time, even when he was here in Baltimore. I'm too young, but I just know the story. Back, I think the year I was born, '83, they moved. Um, Pretty much snuck out, which I don't see how. I mean, now you definitely can't do it. But I think they just packed up and just left. Like nobody knew that they was moving to Indianapolis um, until that next day or something. They just snuck out in the middle of the night or something to the extent. Like basically, they snuck out of town. I don't think they announced it. Excuse me to everybody. So that was just a weird. Thinking about it today, you would know that you moving. You would definitely know. You wouldn't be able to sneak that past anybody down. But so that's what happened back at that time. Um, and I'm from Baltimore, and basically the Colts, like basically the older fans that grew up in the golden era with Johnny Unitas, um, during that era, most of them people they still like the Colts. They ain't turned their back on the Colts. Now younger people like my dad, I use my father as an example. Around when it happened, he was in his early 20s. Um, I mean late 20s. Yeah, because when I was born, he was like 20. He was in his late 20s. So people in that with that age, that range, because he didn't probably, he was young when the Colts was winning. Um, uh, so he hated the Colts after that. He didn't like he couldn't stand the Colts. So you had the people, you had that side, you had the side the people still love the Colts after they left. Because some of their legacy still linger around here, even when the Ravens got here. On the Colts legacy, like if you go certain places in the city, you still can see, like Johnny Unitas statue is here and things of that nature. So some people just didn't let them go. Still became Ravens fans, but still loved the Colts. And then you got people like my father that hated them for leaving in the first place. Um, so you got those two elements. And then me, I guess I throw myself as an example. I'm too young to remember it all, so I always see them as the Indianapolis Colts. So it's like I got no problem with it, So you got that element here. So that's the element. But it wasn't Jim Irsay. It was his father Bob that did that move. Jim got the team. I think they said in '98 he took over as the owner, and he's been controversial. Some of the things that he said in the media sometimes, just was sort of unapologetic about some of the things that he said throughout the years. Also get in trouble. He had DUIs and things of that nature. Had to go to rehab. He got fined by the NFL for the DUI. Um, so real controversial owner. A lot of people thought that, um, especially with the DUI situation, that it wasn't fair to the players because, um, the players would get suspended for games and all that. I think he did get suspended also. Now I'm thinking about it. I think he got suspended, which is weird. Owner of the team, he couldn't come to games. I think he did get suspended too. And, but they the owner, so I understand. Like, if he didn't get punished at all, I mean, yeah, it would be unfair, but the owners really run the league, not the commissioner. That's why. But the commissioner, basically, you basically in all sports, you the fall guy. When things go left, the owners don't get blamed. They blame the commissioner. Especially that fella Roger Goodell gets the blues, man. He still get booed everywhere he goes. But he's not the one making these decisions. I mean, yeah, he's like, I guess. Well, I don't want to compare him to the president. Even the president even got more power than that. But basically, it's like the Congress and the president. Like the president, yeah, he makes decisions, but the Congress is the one really, you know, bringing these bills and passing doing all that stuff. Commissioner is he's just a fall guy, especially in the NFL. So, but it's just unfortunate. Still don't necessarily say how he passed. That'll probably come out sooner than later. But me just living life. 60. After 60, you lucky. Like any day you get after 60, to me, well, any day on the surface lucky. But any day after 60, you know, basically, death could just come. But he had a rough life. He was on painkillers and drugs and all types of stuff. I'm not saying that that's his death is behind that, but he lived a rough life. I can imagine. So, um, but it's sad. Any death is sad. Like I said, I just lost my grandma. My grandmother, um, she was 80. I think my sister said she was 83, but she died from stage 4 lung cancer. So that's different. I don't know if they said his health was been bad for years. That's the only thing they pretty much said, that he's been his health ain't been great the last few years. So, but yeah. So it's sad. I just wanted to touch on it because it was kind of came out late last night, right before I was making up my promotion on IG and Facebook, and that came out. So I said I would touch on that. So Jim Irsay, CEO owner of the Colts, passes away at the age of 65 yesterday. So that's my take on Mr. Irsay. So now let me see if there's any other NFL news that's worthy of talking about. Of course, the schedule release came out last week. That's one day. That was been my show would have been about. But now it lost its muster, so I'm not going to really touch on that. But it's going to be crazy this season. Of course, the NFL is great at this. They pump you up, get you hype. Now it's just this May, so we still got 3 months to go till we really start getting to the football mode. As preseason will start. But they great at popping everything up. Schedule release. You pretty much know your schedule, just don't know when and where you plan. But of course you can't wait till the NFL season. But the schedule release, it was wild. Yeah. So check out your team favorite schedule, because I wanted to touch on all 30 teams. I'm not going to do it today. I might do it on a slow, if it's not a lot of news, I might do it. I'm going to touch on all the schedule with the roundabout series, so I don't have to do it. So So I eventually will talk about your team. Speaking of that, let's segue into that. Preview of that real quick. I'm gonna yeah. So that's gonna start. I'm gonna try to start it next week. I'm gonna start. I think this year. I think since there's so much intrigue in the northern divisions, I'm gonna start at the north this year. Uh, usually start east or west first. That's just something that I do. But I think I'm gonna start north this year. I think I'm gonna start with the NFC North this year. So that'll be my first division that I cover, and then every week we'll go AFC South. Then we're gonna go north. We'll stay AFC, and we're gonna rotate it. We're gonna do the East last because the Eagles are the champs. So I'm gonna do the NFC East. Will be the last division that we do. So just stay tuned. I'll preview it every week. Um, so I gotta start getting on top of that. Can't wait for that. Um, I want to do shows this year. I did shorts last year. I think I know what I'm gonna do. I think it just popped in my head. I'm gonna do a special sports blog on it every week for the rest to the preseason. But then I'm gonna do shorts on my other channel, on my Silent Sports and Gaming Shorts channel. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a regular show like I did, because the year before I would dedicate a show just for that division that I do. But last year I couldn't. Like I said, I couldn't. I had space to record. So I just did shorts on all 32 teams. I mean, it's gonna be a lot more work, but I think I'm gonna try to do both. I'm gonna try to do shorts on your particular team. Excuse me, and then still do a show on the whole division, and then just do it that same week. That division and the shorts, the same week. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. Um, so thank you guys. So that's pretty much near the end of the show. We almost an hour in, so not bad, not bad time of the day. Before I wrap things up, I just want to touch on it because everybody else has the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese dilemma. I'm gonna call it dilemma. I ain't gonna say drama. That's sort of a trigger word for some people. And I'm not gonna really touch much on the RG3 Riot Club. Now that's who's in the center of it now, is those two guys. But as far as just first, I'm gonna just talk about the foul itself. The foul itself, it was a regular foul, man. Like that's a regular foul. Angel, I think, overreacted a little bit. I don't think Caitlin had no malicious intent or any of that stuff. It does smell funny that like Angel's been fouled hard before and didn't react that way. And then Caitlin last year, even though I thought it was overblown also, she was getting hard fouled. She like once a game. But it was just hard fouls, I think, But it's I mean, I personally, like I said, I don't. Now I admit this. I don't watch a lot of WNBA. I follow it a little bit, but I'm not really invested in it like probably other people are, especially now that Caitlin has came into the league. Her and Ada Reese. But it's definitely, that's why I said I was interested to see this year. Actually, I think this will wind up helping at the end of the day, because I was thinking that it's gonna fade a little bit, like it's gonna lose a little bit mustard. Like, I mean, they got a lot of support now, but I just think now that this has happened, I think it's gonna stay up there, stay relevant, probably at least for the rest of this year, because they're gonna play again. So whenever they play again, that game is gonna be overhyped. So I think it's overall a good thing for the league. But like I think uh, Asia Wilson, which I need to do more research on, but she played for the Las Vegas Aces. She's really the best player in the WNBA, and she barely get talked about. But Caitlin Clark, what she doing? Especially she's playing well now. She's off to a great start. Um, already about to set a WNBA record with 25 points and 10 assists. So um, she's already tied for that record. She's gonna definitely break it. I just think I'm happy for WNBA. I used to when it first came around, I was a huge fan of WNBA. The Houston Comets era. When they won the first four titles, I was watching every game in the summer. I couldn't wait for the WNBA. I was a huge fan. I'm gonna try to get back into it. And probably talk about it once a week on the show. But that whole situation is overblown, obviously. Now the thing with Ryan Clark and RG3, of course Ryan Clark, long-time safety in the NFL. Um, More known as a Steeler, but he moved around in his career. And RG3, that's why I was saying thought they was teammates when RG3 was in Washington, and I was right about that because they going back and forth on Twitter, social media. Well, RG3 said basically like Angel hates Caitlin Clark. I mean, what he showed evidence that this might be true. He showed the time that Caitlyn got fouled hard when they played last year, and Angel Reese got up clapping uncontrollably. Like it did look like she liked what happened to Caitlyn with that foul. Um, so he showed evidence. So what he said, but the thing is, this is where it get messy. RG3 is married to a white woman, so the perception looks like RG3 is keeping up for his wife or for white women, period, because he got a wife that's white. Then Ryan Clark, said what he said, basically saying RG3 don't understand black women, period, which I think, how can you say that? Because RG3 is still black. So, and then the other players and people start saying things like, I think it was Le'Veon Bell said something that which I didn't know, that Ryan Clark has basically a mixed son, so he's actually been with actually had a baby with a white woman. So they called him out on that hypocrisy. And it's just been going back and forth for the last couple of days. So like I said, I think this is overblown. I think the race part of it is overblown. I think we do need to stop doing that. Overblowing everything, making it racial. But other than that, I think these two guys need to, just, I don't know, try to let it go. But now it's gotten too personal because now they talk about family, talk about people, kids, and stuff like that. Over something that really did not nothing to do with you guys. Y'all not playing in the WNBA, so why? So it's just weird, But I think it's gone too far now, so I think this ain't going nowhere, at least for a little while. I think they're going to keep responding to each other. Because Ryan Clark went into RG3 not being a good teammate and things like he was the worst teammate he ever had and all this, all this stuff. Talking about his character and things of that nature. So it's gotten out of hand. So I just wanted to touch on, get my 2 cents on it. But honestly, it's just this whole thing is overblown. Like, it wasn't a hard foul. Angel and Caitlyn, Angel probably more than Caitlyn. Angel probably, I think it's more of a jealous thing. I don't think it's hate, even though jealousy can turn into hate. I think other players probably feel the same because Caitlyn getting all the attention. That's just with anything. So maybe that's what it is, but I don't think I don't want to go as far as say she hate her. So, So that's my take on that. But as far as the channel, like I said, projects coming up. I'm gonna do so Sparkler Zero. I'm gonna do some uh, Call of Duty campaign. So I'm gonna focus on those two. They could be the two most more videos you're gonna see coming up. I'm on the channel. Got some plans in June, but like I said, I gotta wait, see what goes on with work and everything else. Um, and that's all. Like I said, sorry about last week. Like I said, just been a little out of it. Losing my grandmother. Me and my grandmother was, we had a decent relationship, but I haven't seen her in years. She got, she got sick with cancer. And passed away last Tuesday. So that whole week I was just, going through some things. Um, but like I said, now that I had time. That's why I wanted to go on last week because I've been off work for like the last 2 weeks now. But I don't go. I go back next week. So, and I think my schedule. I gotta look at my schedule. I know I'm off in between either Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm off one of those days. So that's when it'll be the next vlog. Um, so nobody came in today, so that's cool. Um, Special shout out to my man Derek. His birthday was yesterday. Um, he's a contributor. He was here the last time I was live. Um, so happy belated birthday to you, bro. Hope you had a good day yesterday. Um, like I said, a good fella, a good guy. Used to work with me. Um, so hopefully you had a good day yesterday. And to everybody else that's been supportive, all my new subscribers, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Um, always open to have new subscribers. Like I said, the goal is to get monetized. So hopefully that'll be sooner than later. But like I said, I'm gonna try to put out more content. That's why I want your input because I will focus on something you want me to focus on. But I'm just gonna put out as much content as possible. Try to give you, like I said, do the blog once a week, like I should. And like I said, like I said, the roundabout series that's about to take over the channel for a while because the NBA playoffs eventually is going to end in June. So the main focus is going to be the NFL roundabout series and the MLB. So, and then like I said, the NFL will be right around the corner right after that. So, but thank you guys for joining me this morning. That's all I got for y'all today. Join me next week. The conference finals will be in mid-form. So we'll see who's had the advantages by then. We'll look at the MLB standings as always. And the NFL news, we'll bring it up. But we're going to start the roundabout series next week. And we're going to start with the NFC North. So that's the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings. So that's a very interesting division to start with. So I think we'll start there. Then we go south, and then we'll go west, and then we'll go east. We'll do the east last since the Eagles 1-year champions. So thanks so much for watching. I'm Troy West. Shout out to all my new subscribers. Shout out to all my old ones as well. Shout out to B. I think I saw you on PlayStation this morning. I gotta reach out to you too. All my YouTube family, Dollar Hologram, the Roo, so many others, and I thank all you guys. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace and love. Stay safe, and thank you guys for watching.